For a brand that's doing close to 100 million in revenue,
Wow.
what should be the mix of different ad channels in your opinion? Of course, they did put like, obviously, I know this is your opinion, kind of in the parentheses.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we're on the way there. Like we're
Yeah.
acting like we were already going to do that this year if we didn't get kind of hamstrung by
Yeah,
finances.
and I know somewhat what your mix used to look like, at least, but
If Genie in front of me, I would go right back to that mix, dude. It would
Okay.
predominantly lion's share of this was, I would say at this point, 40% Meta.
yep.
Well, then we have
30, 35, 40, somewhere in there. Yep.
I think so, just because like there's way more. We have more products to sell. We now know how to
Yep.
sell them better. How many offers are running? 40% primarily driving from the Meta.
Yep.
Then we have right beneath that like, some sort of mix of search. Yeah, go on.
Yours was Google and AppLovin neck and neck.
Correct. And there was a time when AppLovin should have been more than Meta, but then like turning that off, like we did a little bit of incrementality about it, and like leave it. Anyways.
I always think whatever the pillar channel was, hard for me to believe a different channel's beating it. Like the pillar channel the business was built on, you know?
Well, and that's why I was like Meta, Google, but then Google was directly correlated with scale depending on how much we spent on Meta or AppLovin.
Yeah, Google is a drafter, but like AppLovin and Google were your second two, and I would say if you were 40 on those two, I'd say Google and AppLovin were both at like 15. So then you got 70 right there.
And then we have Snap floating around with TikTok or with Twitter, and we haven't had anything crack TikTok. So I think TikTok Shop specifically, spending on that ad channel, including like cost of influencer, needs to grow. That in itself needs to be closer to like 10% overall mix, because the cultural shift of spend on TikTok, halo effect on Amazon was so important, bro. And you can scale Amazon as much as you can, but if you have no organic search, which we saw in this most recent Prime, we were down because we were not spending on ads. We were not getting discovery. We were not spending on TikTok. Amazon Prime was flat for us because we did not spend enough on other channels. Then the last thing, we have affiliate. Yeah. Affiliate should be a huge percentage. Now that's not ad spend, but it's commissions. It's still going to take it away.
I was actually that was going to be my follow-up question is there are some spend channels that don't show up in your like quote unquote dashboard, like if you're spending on podcast or you're spending on affiliate or something like that. So I was going to ask those as a follow-up. Yeah. Creator. Podcast creator was kind of right there in my head, but influencer a lot of times won't show up in your like dashboard of ad channels. So
it might be like 40, 30, 10, 10, 5.
What was the 30 in your brain?
30 was actually, so 15 Meta, 15 Google, 15 app.
Yeah.
And then app will probably go like 20 and climb up.
Yeah. So that's what yours was, but you're saying you think TikTok should maybe overtake Google and AppLovin.
I think so, because the halo that goes on to Amazon and marketplaces, and this doesn't even, we have no spend on, no, we're wholesale, right? I'm assuming to get to the size, they're probably
some retail mix too.
Got to be a little bit in there, right? Got to be a little bit of spend in that. You're gonna have to spend in channel. You're gonna have to spend in person.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I was just gonna
run more Facebook
mainly
ads.
ask you, because I'm not in this arena,
but
I was gonna ask you, what about like universal ads or any of those like streaming platform mix?
We've been thinking about this too. I think because we know we can push Meta more and AppLovin more and these ad channels more, that the TV source is in itself an ecosystem that needs to exist. Landing page, there's an offer there. I think that's going to take more time and commitment.
Yeah.
I'd rather allocate that towards TikTok because that's more closer to social experience before going there. But I do think it's part of the mix.
Yeah.
I think, dude, connected TV, YouTube on TV would be that's all I watch. I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, outside of live sports, I don't really tune into the news or anything like that.
So it is a part of the mix. I don't know how much it is. It's definitely getting some budget.
I remember when Hulu came out with their first self-serve ad platform. We tried it. We actually went and shot, believe it or not, we're all iPhone, but one time we shot a commercial with like a full production team, and it was awesome. It worked well on Meta across for the holidays, but it was like a dad in an old muscle car with his son. Son was driving, and then the police starts chasing them, like flashing lights in the back, and then it like goes blurry, and it's actually just them in a cardboard box, like
playing.
So
they're just playing.
The whole thing was like dad gang, jump into your kid's imagination, be a good dad,
cool.
And then as it cuts to like them being in a cardboard box, the wife hands them another baby, and there's a shit stain on the diaper. So it's just like back to reality.
Yeah.
Right.
Great ad, just being biased. Like, it was awesome. Did well. Like, I have data that proves it did well across Meta. But then I went to upload it to Hulu and it got denied because there was a kid driving.
Baby. Yeah.
Because the toddler was driving.
Oh,
What?
see, the rules and regulations there are so much different because it's TV.
And then I fixed it. We like fixed all these things, and then there's just like so many regulations to the point where like I went through like 7 revisions with my Hulu rep, and there's just like
You're just
I'm
like,
not doing
I'm
this.
just
Not
gonna
worth
run
it.
a Facebook ad.
But I think today, I think it's like Universal Ads or a couple other guys. They like almost have like Meta dashboard type self-serve platforms
They're trying.
that you could just be up and like through Roku, Hulu, Apple, and all those places like fairly quickly.
Yep.
And it's really good for geo. So like if you are a local business that's only in one location, or certain Breeze like locations, I think that'd be good.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
think there is a local angle.
And he's kind of clarified there's no hard and fast rule. So I'm trying to like distill my thoughts succinctly here, but I'll put it this way. To cite my experience on this, I would say that I have talked to the people who are in like 9-figure brands, and then what I also have liked to do is just go open up their data without them really knowing that I'm opening up their data, which is what I used to do for Breeze, by the way. Like Nick was not paying me to consult or anything like that. I was just looking in there because I was curious.
Yeah.
And
You're sniffing around.
I just so I would do that for any brand. Every 9-figure brand that was at Triple Whale, I would go into their dashboards and kind of look at how they were spending and look at their approach. And the way I've seen it sort of break out is it's one of the two of the following. One, they're like very spread across channels, and there is no dominant paid media channel, and it's like kind of like Breeze, but even more democratized, where it's like 20%, 22%, 18%. And it's like all these channels are just
like
kinda,
more even across the board.
Yeah. Or it's like the opposite, where one channel is 70% at least, and every other channel is like 5 or something like that. Or there's like 70%, 25%, and it's just Facebook, Google, and they're still like, they're a 9-figure brand. And that's most of the supplement brands, ones with really high LTVs, where they're just like, so the core question I think is always like, where is the best place to spend my next advertising dollar? And I think that what happens with a lot of the supplement brands that have really high LTVs, your Rise supplement, and I'm not saying that these exact ones are spending this way, but like your Rise supplements, your Mud Waters, things like that, is they realize like it's still Meta.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what about now that we're getting way worse results on Meta? Well, the best place to spend my next dollar, it's still Meta, right? And that brings them, and they keep doing that all the way up to 120, 150 million or something like that. And maybe at some point it changes, but that also doesn't show me what they're spending on brand if they're doing podcast ads or things like that. I can't see that inside there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay,
that's kind of like been my observation, and that's kind of how we are at Royo. Google is a really small portion of our spend. TikTok's a really small portion of our spend. Given we're not at 100 million, we're at a fraction, of that. But like.
We'll ask that question next year because we should be there.
Yeah, I think
We're
so.
At least done 100 million in rev and continue to pace year over year.
Yeah, but the clothing brands, they're usually more spread across single SKU or higher front end purchase brands, more spread across.